You're a pro at this, man. So this is easy work. You ready?
Ready to go when you are.
Let's get it started. You're listening to WBH Radio. I'm your host, William Holly, and we have a very, very special guest in the building, the great Glenn Pooh Harden. You got a lot of titles, but let's start here. The host of BasketballHeadzz podcast. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Glad to be here, man. Appreciate you, shouting me out.
Let's start here. I want to first say thank you for having me on your show a few weeks ago. BasketballHeadzz podcast on the Basketball Network, your YouTube channel. I had a lot of fun. Man. I want to say thank you. You made me laugh when you pulled out the whistle during the episode. I was like, yo, this is great content, man. Tell me when you came up with that idea.
I forgot what episode it was. I think it was 2 episodes after Derek Chivas. He just was providing so much content, and I was like, wow, it's enough for you guys that's, giving these great stories. I said on those great story moments, I'll throw a technical, and then blow a whistle, but it'll be a positive,
Yo, that was hilarious,
yeah.
man. It caught me off guard, but I'm like, yo, this is great content. And some of my friends talked about it too. Like, yo, when you pulled out the whistle, he was like, yo, man, that was great. Something you said on the podcast, and it piqued my interest, but I said, you know what? I'm going to save that for my show. You know what I'm saying? We're going to probe a little bit more. You play high school basketball at Abraham Lincoln. You went on to be a D1 player at FDU, but during the podcast, you said that you stepped away from the game for a little bit. You didn't know that, basketball would kind of be a part of your life as an adult.
Well, I did initially, right? Mm-hmm. But then, my mom passed 4 months after I graduated high school.
Okay.
She was taking care of my nieces at the time. My sister had a drug problem. I had a degree, and she asked me to make sure that my nieces be straight and I take care of my sister, she was my older sister.
Wow. And
I had to come home to those responsibilities. So like overseas, anything else was just like out the picture.
After college?
Right after college.
Yeah.
Right after college. So, I wouldn't say like basketball left a sour taste in my mouth, but I couldn't be around it because I missed it so much.
Right.
But what happened for me was, since I was the DJ and program director at my school at FDU, that helped me dabble into the music industry.
Okay.
So like, I had a rap group by the name of The Nation. We were produced by Easy Mo B. And, we did some very, very great things in the music, and we wasn't able to get the record deal we was looking for. Right. Because we was caught up in the whole bad boy situation with Mo B at the time. He was going through some things with Puff. And that's, you could check his multiple interviews that he have talking about that situation. So we got caught up in that.
So after college, you had your family to support, your sister, your nieces, your mom passed, and you wound up in the music industry?
Yeah, because I needed some kind of outlet. Yeah. I used to always write. I used to write before I played basketball.
Write rhymes?
Yes.
Okay.
I was.
They go hand in hand, hip hop.
There you go. I done performed with Big, rapped on the radio with Jay-Z and Black Thought from the Roots. This is real talk. Rap with Big Daddy Kane.
Hold on. I wish I had a whistle. Hold on. Hold on. I didn't know we was going to get here.
Nah, real.
How did you end up rapping with Big and Jay-Z? Let's start there.
All right, well, Big was actually on stage with us when we performed our first show. It was at Easy Mo B's Golden Platinum party. Big bought him the plaques from the Ready to Die album, and we was all there. And my guy, A.B. Money, and that's how we all got down together, because my guy, A.B. Money, through Rapness Fundamental, who was down with Easy Mo B, who was from LG. I met him because my cousin told me there was a kid at LG that was nice and bald.
Okay.
That's how we met. So when I was telling him I was dabbling into the music, he told me whenever I get serious, hit him up. So let's fast forward. Big's on stage vibing with us and like rocking to us the whole time. And the Jay-Z situation came when we was over at Big Daddy Kane's house.
Cool. Okay.
This is real talk. We over at Big Daddy Kane's house. He's cooking us fish and chilling at his crib, and we get a knock on the door. It's like, all right, go see who that is. It's Jay-Z and the Rangers. So
who's Jay-Z at this time? Like, is he a...
This is before his album
okay.
dropped. This is before his first album dropped.
Okay.
And he asked Kane, yo, I'm going up to Stretch of Barbados show. I want you to come with me. He was like, yo, I got my guys here that rap too. What's up? He's like, bring them. So we all jumped in the cars and we headed up to Columbia University. Shout out to my guy Barbados, a very close friend of mine. We have a lot of great history as well besides that. So we pulled up. And as we're waiting, and if anybody know about the Stretch Armstrong Barbados show, you pull up to Columbia University, you got to wait a while to get in because they have to come all the way through and come get you. So we was down there, and he played us Ain't No with him and Foxy. And he was like, this is going to be my first single. And he, told Kane, yo, we going to start our own label. Appreciate, all the things you was trying to do for me, but this is something that we going to do on our own. And then we played him our first song that Moby kind of produced for us, which was What's Your Rep? And we was kind of vibing right then and there. So he saw that we were serious. And when we got up there, they opened up the mics and let us go. And I say this in all due respect. My guy Kane, who kind of did for Jay-Z what he was doing for us at the time, early on, and to see a young Jay-Z do what he did up there that night, I knew he was going to be great.
Dope.
Yeah.
Is there footage of that or audio online?
We never got to tape it, of course, because we didn't know. It's not like we had cell phones to call somebody and be like, yo, tape the show.
You remember some of your bars from that night?
I don't remember any bars. Now, I do have, which I'm planning to do in the future very soon, is take all the music that we have and kind of put it out because it's still some very good quality hip hop that needs to be heard.
Wow.
Yeah.
When would you say your time with the music came to an end?
I say around 2000, 2001. It was just like, kind of just really saying, need to go another direction. Okay. The group kind of fell apart. We had one of our members die prematurely, diabetes, and we held it on for as long as we could. The last time I think I recorded was 2008. That's when you hear the Go Hard song, my intro to my show.
That's you?
That's me.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I did that in 2008, and I recorded a whole nother album just to see if I still had it.
Of course.
Yeah. And produced some good music back then. And I was good with that. You know what I'm saying? I could walk away and say, I still got it. Did all I could do to, get into the industry the way I wanted to. And it just didn't work out, so.
Pooh, that's amazing, man. That's history right there. Going up to the radio station, spitting bars with Hov,
and Black Thought, like we was up in 89 Tech 9. They bought the Roots, what's my man name, to play the drums? Questlove. He's playing the drums. They had their whole band up in the studio. We talked about $500,000. I think Common Sense was up there, Supernatural, Sadat X.
Where was this?
This is up at 89 Tech 9. You have to remember around that time, a lot of the college stations was the underground.
Okay.
It was the place for the guys who was, up and coming. And even for guys who were out, they would just go to the, to underground radio stations to be heard. And we were a part of that. We were part of so many historical moments during that time in the 90s. And we were just another group from New York City trying to get on.
Right.
Yeah.
What year did you finish college?
92.
92, okay. And you said you were the program director for the radio station?
Yep. WFDU.
Basketball is a full-time gig. Why did you decide to take on that job as the program director?
Because it was on campus. It wasn't like I couldn't do it. I was right on campus. I'd get out my bed and walk down the road, and the radio station is right there. So it kept me out of trouble, kept me out from doing a lot of stupid things, and it brought me together with a group of friends that I probably wouldn't have met if we didn't do that.
When would you say that you came back to the game, like with the podcast and stuff? What brought you back?
The pandemic. Well, I would say right before the pandemic, right? I have a couple of friends who 5 years, 3 or 4 years before the pandemic, they was telling me I need to have a basketball show.
Yeah.
You know, I was a big fan of all the podcasts that was coming out early on, and it was just so many things I need to find my niche, right? It was so many roads that I could go down, and I didn't want to beat the same hip hop drum. I beat that drum already. I needed to do something fresh and innovative for me, and something that I love to do. And after my two friends tried to convince me, maybe a month before the pandemic, another friend of mine who works for NBC, he called me. He was like, "Yo, G, I see you at all the basketball games, and you know, you take footage, and you know, you're just doing it. Why don't you have a basketball show?" And I was like, "Have you been talking to Larry and Hakeem?" He's like, "No, I haven't talked to them in years." I was like, "Because they've been trying to convince me to do the same thing."
So you were just going out as a fan, just consuming?
Yeah, just for the game, for my friends. Like I would go to the Lincoln games, I'll go to the Jeff games, and boys and girls games, because those are all my people.
Right.
It wasn't like I'm doing right now, going to all the games, different games, just for the supporting all my friends. Okay. And then I sat back and really thought about it. And then my guy hit me up. It was like, "Yo, G," the same friend who was trying to convince me in the beginning. He's like, "Yo, BasketballHeadzz." I was like, I freaked it. I said, I'll put 2 Z's in it so nobody sleep on me. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, and it was born, man. And, you know, I have a lot of good friends in the game that I could call on and say, you know, come on the show. And it's been successful up to this point.
Do you remember your first episode? Take us to the very beginning. What were those first steps? Talk to me.
Oh, man. Well, I called Tiny.
Tiny Morn.
You know, my teammate at Abraham Lincoln. I said, "Yo, I'm starting the show. I need you to be my first guest. I want to kick it off live." Right? You know, I did my shows on Instagram Live, right? Never been on live. Never been on Instagram like that, you know? He said, "I've never been on live either." So we was just figuring out, you know. My guy would hit me up like, "Yo, Pooh, you got to pin the questions so you can, you know, read the questions and make sure you shout out the people who was in the rooms." A bunch of people in the room. I didn't know Instagram etiquette, but as time went on, I began to catch on. And it was during the time where Instagram was letting you save your stories. Right. So I don't have the Tiny Morton show. Right. Just like, you know, Rob Phelps, my guy Hassan Ducombe, rest in peace, and a few others who I didn't get a chance to save. And then one day, Instagram let me save my show. And it bugged me out. I was like, do they know what I'm doing? Right?
It's up from
here. Help me out. Oh, yeah. So I was able to save. Man, I know on YouTube, I think I'm up to 225, but I have like another 200 in the stash that I've never put out. Wow. So I put them out every so often. So the ones that you see me without the headphones, those are the ones I did on Instagram, you know, a while ago.
Tiny don't come out too often, and that was your very first guest?
Oh, yeah.
That's love.
Yeah. It's hard to say no to a former teammate, man, you know?
That's love, man.
Yeah.
When did you first realize that, oh, snap, I may have something here? Like, what was the feedback? When did you realize, like, yo, I'm putting on for the city. I'm providing a service.
Just walking around the city and showing up to different games and events, and people coming up to you, you know, or screaming out BasketballHeadzz in their car, and you turning around, forgetting, you know, this is something that everybody gets a chance to see. So that's when I started to catch on. Then people coming up to you personally and thanking me and saying thank you for what you're doing for New York City. And, you know, jotting down these stories and make sure that history be told. And that right there was enough solidification for me. Yeah.
Because a lot of people get forgotten.
Yep.
Get forgotten. You know, we all love to go to the NBA, but that's not the case. But that doesn't mean you weren't great.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Whether your high school career, college career, whether you a coach, whether you're an administrator, somebody got to tell our stories, Pooh. You know, and every now and again I look over and I said, man, Pooh working. He working, man. And that's why I was so grateful that you allowed me to be on the show. You know, we hadn't communicated much before then, but you said, yo, bro, you got something going on? Come, son. You said, all we got is us. I said, yo, bro, that's dope, man. Anything I can help to support the movement. Let's talk about this event you got going on. Tom Konchalski?
Konchalski.
Tom Konchalski Classic.
Yes, you have to remember and know that name. And that name is so synonymous with New York City basketball. Mr. Tom Konchalski, the greatest high school basketball scout in America's history. He's from New York City. Mm-hmm. When I'm talking about, he followed everyone, you know, taking the train, bus, cab, however he could get there to show up for a game. He did it, and if he put the stamp on your name, it was good as gold.
He was just going around with his notebook, taking notes, no laptop, nothing.
Nothing.
And he
still type. He didn't no computer. He didn't use a computer. He's typewriter.
And he would give these, like, people come far and wide to get these scouting reports. Division I coaches.
Hoop school. Yeah. It was something, you know. I credit Kenny Parker, right? Another DJ Kenny Parker, who was a teammate of mine at Lincoln. Okay. It's KRS-One brother. He would put me on to all of these people who I need to know. Mm-hmm. And he told me about Tom Konchalski. He said, listen, if this man ever shows up to the gym while you playing, know you're doing something right. If he comes up to you and shake your hand, make sure you shake his hand, you shake it firm, and you look him in his eyes, right? Because he did all the things prepping you for college, right? And the professional level. So once I started seeing him coming around, you know, I'm at Lincoln, so he would pop in every now and again. Him and my coach was cool. And you would see everyone change up. Mm-hmm. Everybody's demeanors would switch. Everybody, if they were playing around or not going hard, when Tom Konchalski came into the building, everybody know. When you walked in the gym, everybody switched up. Yeah. The layup lines got stronger. They just like everybody was in sync because they knew this man could change their lives.
With his stamp, and you got to understand, at this time, there's not only scouting services online. This man could literally change the trajectory of your career. So it's very important. And you are going to put an event together in his honor. He passed away.
I think he passed away like 2 years ago.
Okay.
Right? And he had an impact on my life because after winning the city championship at Lincoln, I couldn't come back because of age eligibility rules.
Okay.
Right? If I come back, I'm number one in the city. You know, we win it again. Mm-hmm. But my coach didn't want to make sure I was put me in a better position to where I could graduate and be successful. So he called up Mr. Konchalski, and we had a meeting about some prep schools. This is my senior year. I didn't do a prep year. So he called up 2 prep schools, MCI and Oak Hill.
Okay.
None of these guys never met me before or saw me play. The fact that he told them that I was a player, they accepted the phone call. Well, they called me. They called my mom and I. And first, Steve Smith called from Oak Hill, and he said, cool, let me just call Tom back to confirm some things, and it's a go. But me and my mom made the next call to Paul Pellicani at MCI, and he welcomed me on open arms. Right. He said, we'd love to have you. I got one more scholarship left. It's going to you. Can't promise you a starting position. I said, I'm going to start.
Just get me in the gym.
He loved that. He loved the fact that I, was bold enough to say that. Yeah. And my mom like, okay, he'll be there. Mm-hmm. Steve Smith called back, and she said, no, he's already going to MCI. Mm-hmm. So I became like the first player in New York City to go to MCI. After that, it was like Carlton Hines and Carlos Easterling and a few others who went there. Yeah.
Tell me about this classic, man. When's it going down? What could people expect?
June 15th. June 15th. We have picked 48 players out of New York City, Catholic schools and public schools, to play against each other. Mm-hmm. All of these players was chosen by myself to be on the all-city team and the honorable mention team. And when Coach Horford, who I'm partnering up to do this with, along with, he represents grassroots basketball out of Queens, but he was very close friends with Tom Konchalski. And he's very close to the foundation. And when he brought the idea to me, it was just going to be a Queens thing. It was going to be a Queens thing, and he's going to get some players together. And he just happened to watch my show one day. And I had Jim Kerr on there, We was representing his father, Jim Kerr Sr. from Holy Cross. And I said I wanted to bring back like the wheelchair classic, Golden Hoops kind of game to where New York City could put on for New York City. We go out of town and do all the AAU stuff, but we don't do anything for our city.
Hello. Go ahead.
So I told him, I said, listen, let's make it bigger than just Queens.
Right.
I can reach out to all the players and get them to come on, and we can, they could buy into what's going on. Mm-hmm. He said, if that's what you can do, I'm going to put the ball in your hands and you take the lead.
48 players.
Yes.
That's a lot of moving parts, Pooh. So it's June 15th?
June 15th at Malloy High School.
2 games on schedule.
Actually, it's 3. So he kept the regular format of keeping Queens, and so they have a 7th and 8th grade showcase game. Okay. And then after that, it's the City Select game, and then it's the All-City game.
Okay.
At City Select game is at, first of all, the junior high school game is at 4:30, 5 o'clock, and then 6 o'clock, City Select, and then 7:15, 7:30, we kick off the All-City game.
You got the Catholic school kids?
Yes.
Versus the public school kids?
Facts.
Why'd you decide to do that format?
It hasn't been done in a very long time. I heard that the Mayor's Cup did something similar, but then I found out last night at this meeting at the mayor's office, that's another big thing coming up soon, so you guys stay tuned, that the Mayor's Cup wasn't a Catholic school, public school thing. Right. I think that maybe they did it once or twice or whatever. But I wanted to put that together because the Catholic schools and public schools, they don't play against each other.
No.
They don't get a chance to
We right
match.
here all in the city.
That's right.
Never get to cross paths.
That's right.
I think that's an amazing idea for the city. Mm-hmm. Let these kids match up against one another. They live in the same neighborhoods. They play. Let them match up under official game rules. Assembling this team, how was that? I know your phone was ringing. Coaches was advocating for their players. That's tough. That is tough, man.
How did you know that, brother? How did you know that? Like, come on, listen. No disrespect to any coaches out there. I appreciate you advocating for your players. I think that's what you should do.
Yeah.
But it was definitely some tough decisions. Some easy ones that only thing I needed was a yes, but then there was some ones where we had to choose between, and then I said, you know what, to stick to my guns, they had to come from my list. And that makes it easy, right? Instead of just going out and fishing for players. All these players who I saw, there may be a few players who are very good who I never got a chance to see. Yeah. I can't account for those people. I'm not just going to go to the stats and be like, oh, he averaged such and such, and give him the benefit of the doubt. I got to see him in person. That eye test is important for me because that's what Mr. Konchalski would do.
Give me some of the kids that we can look forward to playing.
Well, first of all, I have MVPs from both leagues. We have Josh Pasquarelli from St. Francis Prep. He was the MVP of the Catholic School AA Division. And then we have Trey Shep and Jaden Zimmerman, who was co-MVPs for the PSAL.
Trey Shep is Eagle Academy, I'm not?
Facts, Eagle Academy. And Jaden Zimmerman, Eagle Academy Bronx. We got Anthony Isaac from Jefferson, our first 20-plus player in a while. Eric Acker. We have AJ Rodriguez from Iona Prep. Got Nazir Rodriguez from Scaling. The list goes on.
It's a great list.
So many ball players, and I want to just keep running down the list. I may leave some out, but those are like some of the kids you can look forward to see.
This is phenomenal, and many of those guys, or some of them, Trey Shep, Eric Acker, will be Division I athletes in the fall. This is a great opportunity for the city. And what is it, the City Select game? I see a couple of guys that we competed against, Siani Arthur from Lawn Tech, Kenny P's Lawn Tech. A lot of great kids. I know they are excited. Did you get to speak with the kids personally? What was their reaction?
Instagram.
Yeah.
That's the power of Instagram. I asked them, first of all, I was sitting out, I did it kind of special, right? I made an invitation.
There you go.
Right? Put the invitation with their name on it, with the people that's involved, and I sent it to them. And I said, would you like to play and participate? And I would just get the yeses. two people that, I said 4 actually, because 5. It's actually 5 kids that's not playing, right? Boogie Flan, very close with him and his dad, and from Stepinac, and then we have Ian Jackson from Cardinal Hayes. They're going to be participating in the USA game, so they won't be here. And I think Elijah Moore will be out of town. I know Karan Alexander will be back in Barbados playing in his home country. And Nazir Muhammad, who is the leading scorer in the Catholic School League, he'll be away that weekend as well. But everybody else, we have them.
We're there. Talk to me about the coaches. How did you decide who's going to coach these rosters?
Well, talking to Coach Harford, he wanted to get the assistant coaches, right, and give them some shine. And I think, rightfully so. So for the Catholic School League, the City Select game, we have Don Francois from Malloy High School, Eric Brooks from Christ the King, and a host of others. Because I can't remember everybody's name, but those are the 2. And then we have, Bruce. Get well, Bruce, man, from Cardinal Hayes. And then for the All-City game, we have Saquon Stone.
That's my guy, Starlight City Zone.
That's right, that's right.
Zavarian standout, went on to Southern Miss. It's my guy.
Yeah, so he'll be coaching this All-City game along with his partner.
That is a great opportunity for the assistants to get some shine.
Yeah. We got Kamar LeGroux from Eagle Academy, who be doing the public school. Okay. We also have Coach Justin and Nolan Johnson. Coach Justin from Transit Tech and Nolan Johnson from Boys and Girls.
Wow.
So we got a very, very nice staff, professional, all guys who played in the city and participated and know what it's like. So it should be fun.
The details, I like that, man. The goal is when you talk about putting on for the city, trying to put all of our people names in lights. You know what I'm saying? So you got what's the main event called?
The All-City game.
The All-City game.
City Select.
And then you got the City Select. You got the assistant coaches. Man, you guys are doing it right. What would make this event successful? Like, what do you want the outcome to be? What do you want this event to be moving forward?
Well, first of all, we want the kids to have fun, right? And we want them to compete at a high level, right? If we can have 2-3 great games from the junior high school or up, that's what it's about. And then also the camaraderie, right? You want to build that friendship and that love for the city to show that, we all came out and did something great for a man who did great things for all of us. And without Konchalski, some of the light that was kept here in New York City probably would have been gone a long time ago. Yeah. So we can have 3 great games. The kids have some fun. That's all you can ask for. And going on, if the games are really, really good, like they're supposed to be, kids will look forward to playing in this every year, right? So one of the things that we did do, and Coach Horford came up with this part, added the Wheelchair Classic, I went etched to it, whereas the kids got to bring their report cards and write an essay, right? And the essay is, what are your lifetime goals outside of basketball?
Every kid has to provide an essay?
Yes.
Please, Pooh, tell me why this is important.
Well, look, I'm going to sit here and say this because I know Coach's going to see this. We went back and forth with this. Coach and I, and not because I didn't see the importance of it, the way it was, promoted to him at first. But as, you sit up and you think about the things and what's really important, right? It's books before ball, right? And if we can put on and do all of these things to make sure that they have the stage and the platform to do what they need to do to get seen by whoever, college coach, pro scout, whatever it is, because it's going to be all of those people in the building. That's the least they can do, right? And we're not asking them to be a Pulitzer Prize winner. You know what I'm saying? It's like put something together from your heart that you think that people would want to see.
When I saw you posted that on your Instagram, it had a picture of a young man. He said his essay was submitted. I was like, oh, snap. Let me find out there is an essay, an academic portion that is required for this event. And let me tell you, Pooh, I think that's phenomenal because this is how we instill those values in the youngsters. We talk about books before ball, but I think this is put in, I guess, evidence and work behind that lip service. And you look at your own journey. You were a basketball player, and then real life happened after college, and you had to go to work. So these young ballers, you never know which way life is going to take them. So if they got all of these skills, that can only contribute to their success, man. I think that is phenomenal, man. I look forward to it. I see you in there probably just running around, taking pictures, doing all type of stuff, man. Yeah, hopefully you get to enjoy what you built.
Listen, it's so hard. It's so hard. I say that even with the Breevort Basketball League, which hopefully we'll touch on in a few. But that young man name is Jaden Blake Gatson. He's from Konchalski. He handed his in first. Yeah. And I hit him up yesterday. I was like, yo, do you mind if I post this? Yeah. He said, fine, coach. So posted today, and I hope some other kids get inspired to make sure that they bring theirs in. So
this could be phenomenal, man. This could be phenomenal. Get MSG in there, Yes Network, like this can be.
Well, we have it's going to be streamed. Okay. It's going to be streamed. Hope I'm saying this right. YTH Sports Network. My guy Milt, he's going to be, broadcasting it. And he was asking me, he's like, yo, I know you do a podcast. Would you like to call the game for me? I was like, no. I need to be moving and shaking and making sure that those people like the Mario Ellies, Sam Worthens, Albert King, Kareem Reed, Kenny Anderson, all those people that's going to show up to make sure they're actually comfortable. And we also going to highlight them at some time during the game as well.
For sure. On paper, would you have to give the edge to the Catholic school kids? That's what, when you're looking at it on paper, Pooh, these are the kids that go to the tuition schools. They travel a little more. Their facilities is perhaps a little bit better. On paper, it looks like the Catholic school got the advantage. What would you say, Pooh?
Are you a public school or Catholic school guy?
Public school.
Okay. So you just saying like on paper, the roster. Look, I've been asked this so many times, and me being the media now, I got to stay neutral. I don't want to pick a side, but on paper, if you're looking at, the amount of scholarship kids, I think it kind of evens out, right? Hey, let's see.
So we got a great day
Make
plan.
sure you bring your A game. Don't come half-stepping because it's about the leagues. And I think another reason why I wanted to do this, because if we had made it Catholic school and public school mix, then what are they playing for? Yeah. You know what they're playing for? MVP. Yeah. Right? They're playing for MVP. But if you put the leagues now there's pride in this. Yeah. Right? Because public schools have been hearing Catholic school kids is better than y'all. They're better acting. They go to better schools. And the Catholic school kids here, public schools press, they put up a lot of points. Can we handle that? Yeah. So let's see.
It's going to be great. What tickets at the door?
Tickets at the door, $10 for adults, $5 for children. Please come out and support because this is very important. It's not money going into our pockets. It's money going to the Tom Konchalski Foundation. That's important. I think if it's any basketball foundation that we need to support, that's Mr. Konchalski because he's done so much for the city.
What did the foundation think when you guys presented this?
Well, from hearing back from Coach Holford, because he deals direct with them, I know a few people on the board, but they was well received with it.
I'm sure.
I get a lot of my guys always ask me or say, Pooh, I think you're probably the only person that could pull this off. Because it's my relationships, right? To my relationships with Coach Haskins, who's my mentor.
Ray Haskins, guest in this podcast. Yes, sir.
There you go. And then my relationship with Coach Ray Nash, who's the president of the Catholic School Division, right? So, having relationships, I think is key. And I like to pass that on to the youngsters, right? Because you never know who you're going to meet on your way up, right? Or on your way down, right? The same people that's coming up that you helped out can give you a helping hand. So I appreciate Coach Haskins and Ray Nass and the whole Catholic school and the whole public school, Danny Harris, salute, and my guy Lee Green over there. You know, Lee Church, rest in peace, Lee Green. Lee Church that got hired. All those guys that really support me. So it makes it work.
Coach Haskins is actually the one who connected us.
Yes.
He called me one day. He said, yo, Holly, I need you to call Glenn. Y'all both got this media thing. Y'all doing great things. Call him. I'm like, all right, Mr. Haskins.
He's a godfather. You got to do it. You got to do it. Yes.
Is it ever a burden, the position that you occupy in the city as someone who is connected as a member of the media? Like, yo, I got this platform and, you know, is it ever burdensome to you?
No. I'm usually the guy who wears many hats. Always treat people with respect. I'm the same person. Like, I haven't changed who I am because of this. I think it just enhanced things, and sometimes I forget. And, you know, this is why whenever you see me, I'm wearing my merch, just so I can remember what I represent. Right. And the kids that's probably looking up to me or looking at me in a different light. So, yeah, I think if you just stay level-headed and if it comes from a good space. Of course, I'm not doing this, you know, for any money right now. Hopefully this turns into a multi-billion-dollar company later on with all these great stories. But that's not the goal. You know, I say we all we got because it's true.
Yes, sir.
We all we got. It's not that many of us out here doing this. So I think whoever's doing this and putting their time to make sure that these kids get the shine that they need, look, let's do it, and let's do it together.
I feel sometimes like upholding the city and putting on for the city, sometimes I need to say unpopular things, you know, and I would lean on you, you know, someone who's in the city, moving and shaking, done great things. And in fact, it was the podcast I did with Ray Haskins. We were discussing something, and somebody from the city was upset about what we were discussing.
Yep.
You aware of that?
Of course.
Pooh, what do I do if I believe there's a standard and I want to discuss it? I'm not singling anybody out. I don't have a beef with anybody, but I believe what I believe. And I know this platform, people is tuned in and things like, how do I handle that?
I just think you just be your authentic self. You know, if I thought you was doing something crazy, when we spoke on the phone, I know I would have brung it up. You know, I just think we have to have both sides. You know, I've been, you know, criticized for being too nice to my guests, not bringing up the hard questions. And I said, that's not what I'm here for. Everybody got their own position that they have to play. And I think with you, I just think sometimes people need to hear the tough answers or the tough responses so they get it, so there's some kind of balance. You know, trust me, I've been watching your show. I've sit down and I watch your style and how you conduct yourself. I think it's awesome. You know, so I just think you don't put too much in yourself. Right. Don't internalize it.
Because if I think there's a character or some movements out there that's detrimental to the city, like I feel they need to say something. Like I tell you, and I'm gonna ask you about this. Like generally, this happened in real time. A young man I adore, who was actually on my show, I just seen him commit to his third college. Pooh, that ain't the way we drew it up, and I want to be able to address that. What do I do with that? You know, everybody's celebrating like, yo, it's only up from here, gang. I'm like, yo, bro, that ain't the way we drew it up. What's going on there?
Well, look, again, if you don't speak from the heart, were you speaking from a phony place? Like, I think some people would rather you lie to them than tell them the truth, right? But if you lie, you're doing a disservice to yourself.
Yes, sir.
To appease somebody else. So, nah. You know, what were the circumstances that he had to choose 3 colleges or commit to three colleges?
I don't know.
Trust me, because I watch these guys post. If you watch my posts, I'll put up things like, okay, I had Coach Brian Nash.
Okay.
He's the basketball director down at IMG. Another New York City guy. And we talked about players getting these college commit letters and putting them on Instagram, right? So just imagine a kid who's not getting that, not knowing coach's buddy hooked him up, right? And, my guy had to tell me this, and it kind of blew me away. I was like, how are these guys getting ranked if these guys didn't see him play? Oh, it's easy, Pooh. They look at their offers. Huh? So these how the kids getting ranked? Wait till my rankings come out.
The real deal.
Right, the real deal. And I'm not going to put out the name of it, but trust me, people going to be talking about it. It's crazy to me. So I like to challenge people sometimes. Some things I post to make people think. We talked, yesterday I posted Gilbert Arenas. And he said, why do guys who play high school basketball play a national schedule and then go to AAU and play down?
I saw that.
What do you think about that?
It's not serving them. It's not serving them. To play down, to ring, never. It's a big problem.
Now, it's not ringing. You playing your age range.
Right.
But you're not playing against 16-year-olds in high school, just 16-year-olds. You play against 17-year-olds and 18-year-olds. And maybe a dude who turned 19 during the year. And I like to pose the question, what do you think? Do we have a point or not? And then let the people, answer that question. And this way it keeps me out of being biased, But I understand that those are the things that got all of us better playing against the older guys. Right? You had to wait our turn, and then you had to get on the court. And once you got on the court, you had to learn to stay there. Nothing was easy. Now, I'm not going to bring that up. Because they'll be like, yo, see, you trying to blow us up. But I've experienced this in real time as well from a player. And
what?
It's not getting better. No, just certain players that I see that play down, and you wonder why they're not getting better.
What can we do? Do you mention it to the coach? Do you talk to the kid? Because we can't sit back and watch them, I guess, flounder.
Yeah, true, but then I don't want to put back on the coaching's hat. Right? So that means I'll be putting back on my coach's hat and pulling this kid to the side, and they'll think I'm trying to play him out of position, right? You just have to watch it unfold. Soon they'll be back, and we can have that conversation when they get older, and I can explain to them some of the mistakes they did. Did I mention to people who are close to him? Yes. So hopefully they'll be able to talk to him.
Have you worked as a coach?
Yeah.
Where?
I coached at Martin Porras High School. I coached in the neighborhood. At the school I'm at, won a championship there in 2014. One of my kids.
Which school?
Martin Porras.
That's in Long Island?
Yeah.
The high school coach?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And one of my kids now is overseas playing in Bolivia. And we have another one in college. And these are a lot of the kids that we built from the bottom. There was no ready-made players. Right? I kind of like that. When you just build the kid up from scratch, a lot of coaches don't have patience for that. And I think that's why we have a lot of situations we have now with kids leaving and jumping from place to place because they're not getting these kids and developing them early. So you get them and develop them early and go build that bond and that relationship. Hopefully they stay and they believe in you and they see their worth. So.
Salute, man.
Yeah.
What else I got for you? We would talk about the age thing. Pooh, I mentioned on your show that I didn't play high school basketball. Like, I kind of really wasn't a part of the grassroots scene at all. I was just a park player on my own. Went to the Army, came back. Then I played college basketball locally. And then I started, working alongside my man, Kayvon Baker, who's the head of Loyalty to the Game Athletics and head varsity coach at Wingate. So the scene is still new to me, right? And one thing that I was just shocked by, reclassification. And I'm kind of hip to it now because I've been around for a while. But one of my friends who his son is going through the process, he calls me, he said, Will, this reclassification, like, what is this? And I was laughing because he had the same reaction I had when I was first put onto it. I think it's just a necessary evil now. I shrug at it. What do you think of the practice of people kind of being, for those who don't know, voluntarily left back to compete in a different grade?
Well, if you know anything about college basketball, you know right now college coaches are not recruiting high school players like that anymore.
They're in that transfer portal.
Right. So if they're in that transfer portal getting older players, right, what do you do as a high school kid? If you're not one of the top dogs, you have to put yourself in a position so you can play on an even scale. Yeah. Because the scale is not even. It's not even. It's not even balanced. Some of our top kids right now in New York City are just getting signed. You know? So in the beginning, maybe about 3 or 4 years ago, before the pandemic, I would ask the same question. But talking to college coaches and a lot of college coaches who I know, they was like, yo, Pooh, we're not recruiting those kids. Yeah. So what do a kid do? Now, you know, are they hurting themselves educationally? I don't think so, right? So if they're above age and they can, I think they should. Now I'm saying that. Three or 4 years ago, I wasn't having this this tone. I wasn't, you know, giving these same answers. But now that I know what I know, definitely. And it can hurt a kid, right, who parent is doesn't understand or doesn't care about that, right? It's like, okay, you still gonna move on and get your education and do it the right way, and kids gotta understand that's part of the game. Right. We had New Heights play against Almighty Force the other day, and I put up a post of a kid dunking, and it was like, you know, New Heights got all the reclass players, and then, you know, another kid was like, all right, that's cool, but they're still just kids. Right. At the end of the day. Right. Right? I don't think going into the game, and it's not to knock anybody, any coach, but going into the game, you know what you signed up for. Right? So if a kid reclass and they still in the right grade and can compete, then we're going to go compete. And I want to play against the best anyway. Yeah. Right? For us coming up, you know, knowing you have to play against, you know, Chris Brooks, Lloyd Daniels, you know, Eric Brown, Nestor Payne, all these, you know, big names, Boo Harveys, the Ross Stricklands, you wanted to be there because with those coaches watching them, they may get a taste of how good you are. Yeah. So I just think kids put themselves in a great position to succeed, and good things can happen.
Because he called me all stressed out, and I was just like, yo, bro, it's the landscape now. You know, he's really like, yo, what do I do? I'm like, because he like me, like we ain't really kind of grow up in that scene. I'm like, yo, bro, it's a necessary evil right now, son. That's all I got for you. I could connect you with some people that may have a better answer, but it's pretty prevalent. And you know what I'm saying? If you are number 10 in your class, but if you reclass, you might be number 2. That could be a big deal. And as far as a scholarship, or who knows, even lottery money down the line, like that's how far ahead these people are looking. So it's just out there. It's a tool.
Listen, but if they put in the work, right. So if I'm putting up 200 shots, I'm gonna put up 1,000 or 2,000 now, right? If I'm getting up at 7 o'clock in the morning or working out after school, I'm gonna get up 4:30 or 5 o'clock to work out, exercise in my room, and do calisthenics and get bigger and stronger, right? So whenever things are against you like that, you just have to work harder.
That's it.
You know.
Pooh, you were city champion at Lincoln. What were your days like as a high schooler?
Oh, man. Fun. I never missed a day at high school. Never missed a day. All game.
Where'd you live at?
Crown Heights. I came from Crown Heights and then moved over to Breevort. So my mom didn't want me to go to any neighborhood schools. First of all, I went to Lincoln to play football.
Wow.
I went to play football, follow my guy, KK. I was a quarterback, actually it's a damn good quarterback. My team before that, the Renegades, I took them to the championship, 21-0, 21 touchdowns. I don't think I threw an interception. And I knew that Lincoln had a great football program. I knew I had to go play JV and work my way up. I didn't mind that. But once I made Lincoln varsity basketball team as a freshman, quit football. Was done. I'm done. And, you know, I watched some great players before me.
Hold on, Pooh, you were someone that was capable of making varsity as a freshman, and these basketball coaches just had you walking around like they even let you entertain football?
I didn't play in tournaments like that. I went to like workouts. I did play like CYO, but all this stuff was just following my friends. So if my friends was going to play CYO or play in housing, but I would go with them. It wasn't like a path I was taking. Now I went out for Lincoln following my friends. I didn't want to ride the train by myself.
Yeah.
So my friends were going out for the team. I'm going, yo, we number one in the state. Who's picking freshmen? No one does that. There's no JV here. We didn't have a JV basketball. We had JV football, baseball, and everything. Didn't have a JV basketball team.
And when you came in, Link was already number one in the state?
Yes, with no JV, straight varsity. So they already had a history, and my coach that year picked 3 freshmen. That's it. It was guys in there much better than us, but you know they probably had some issues we didn't know about or didn't have the grades. So it was Josie Watkins, who was the best player in Coney Island at the time for his age. Dave Adebanjo, who went to my coach's junior high school. My coach worked in 320. So he had, both of them had an end because all the older guys were rooting for Josie. Dave knew coach and myself. And nobody from Coney Island would pass me and Dave the ball. So we decided we're going to play with each other, make sure we stay with each other and we get picked on the same team, and then we're going to work together. And it worked out.
When did Tiny Morton come along?
Oh, man, Tiny came my sophomore year. Tiny came my sophomore year. Mind you, I was only 5'8" at the time as a freshman. Then that summer, I grew to 6'4", and then moved it to the starting position. And Josie was he was the starting point guard at the time until Tiny transferred in. And then Tiny came in and was our starting point guard.
What was he like as a teammate, as a floor general?
Tiny was everything Kenny Anderson was without the hype and the scoring. So you couldn't press us.
Yeah.
No one could press us. When I'm telling you, no one could press us. No one.
He was breaking that down?
No one could press us. I don't care how good your team was. He would dismantle the press. He would just tell us to go. And that's one thing, you know, he was always a floor general. So when that ball would go up, he would already be looking down the court. And once he get the ball, he already knew how to navigate through the fast break and get us the ball. And that's what made him such a terror on the court. You know, having myself, Bernard Mitchell, Sean Williams, and Dave Adebanjo, it was a hard guard, just to say that much.
Who'd you guys defeat in the city championship?
We defeated Manhattan Center.
Okay.
Who was favored to win. My guy, John Arnold. Salute, John. I know you watching. My guy, John Arnold, who's the point guard there, they looked past us. We beat them. Then we went up to Glen Falls to play against Kenny Anderson. What up, Chips? Know he's going to be watching, too. They was looking past us. So we beat Manhattan Center. We beat Malloy. They was like number one in the state at the time, and they were supposed to have the best press in the whole state, and Tiny dismantled them. And mind you, while everybody was like scared of like Kenny Anderson because of the hype, we had Tiny who came up playing with him in Queens. So that kind of, he was like, don't worry about that, we good. He's gonna do what he's gonna do, but he's not gonna be able to stop me from what I'm going to do either.
Wow.
And Kenny didn't start. Kenny didn't play the first quarter. his whole freshman year. He was the #1 freshman in the country. He didn't start. He didn't even play the first quarter.
Wow.
His whole freshman year. So we knew if we could jump on them early, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. So we beat them in overtime up at Glen Falls. Then we played against Arnold Bernard and Dwayne Ivory from Our Savior Lutheran. We beat them in double overtime because everybody was looking past us. And then we played against Binghamton and King Rice and them 12:30 in the afternoon, 11:30 in the afternoon. So we had 2 8 o'clock games and then the 11:30 game. And mind you, Binghamton lost to All Hallows the year before. So, I always say the fix was in, but anyway, we lost.
What year was that, the city championship?
86.
What was it like?
The first one in Lincoln.
You guys were the first one. At the height of that, like being in the papers, the community, like what was the energy like?
Man, let me tell you. It was just like knowing what it feels to be a basketball star, right? Because our freshman years, we lost to the High by 1 point. They had Ed Davida, rest in peace. My guy, Robert Gilmore, hit the last second shot, him rest in peace as well. And we lost by 1. Broke my heart. I didn't even play, but I was crying, just paying my dues. The second year, we got blown out by boys and girls by 20. So it was just our nemesis. Like we couldn't get, they was our Detroit Bulls. I mean, our Detroit Pistons, right? We were Chicago
Couldn't
Bulls.
get over the hill.
Couldn't get over the hump. But we said next year, it's not happening. And we beat them. Actually, we beat them pretty handily at St. John's. So that kind of propelled us. And we was like, we're not worried about nobody else. We got past the High. So that made that special, being in the paper and knowing like, because I'm going to be that guy. Because out of that whole team, I was the highest recruited out the whole team, even though I wasn't the leading scorer.
Right.
I never was the leading scorer on any of my teams. At Lincoln, I was the 3rd leading scorer. MCI, 3rd leading scorer. And at Fairleigh Dickinson, I was the 3rd leading scorer. But always the guy you needed to win. Because I held all the best plays as well.
That's dope, man.
Yeah.
That's dope, man. That's why I really enjoy, just watching you from afar. He's somebody that lived it. You know what I'm saying? All of these experiences these young kids have gone through, like, Pooh Harden walked it. You know what I'm saying? So he is a valuable resource when he gets behind that mic, somebody worthy of being listened to. Just city championship and what it takes. Talk to me about some of the work you put together outside of just your mandatory practice.
Well, I was one of those guys who would put up 1,000 shots.
When? In a high school day, when?
In high school.
Go ahead.
In the morning, on the weekends, afternoon. See, when I came up in my neighborhood, I was the only one playing high school basketball. I didn't have a peer. My peers didn't live in my neighborhood. They, my competition, but I didn't work out with my competition, right? And there was none of my close friends play high school basketball. So it was like just me. So I had to find time. I had to find that extra motivation. Me being a tall guard, and a lot of stuff that I came in with being 5'8", I kind of kept. And my coach never put me in the paint. I played 2 guard my whole life. So a lot of things I was able to do, a lot of guys tell me it translates to the league right now, right? Being a tall guard, being able to defend, being able to shoot, because a lot of guys wasn't able to shoot at my height during the time I played. So I wanted to make sure that I had that intact. So if you play me up close, I could go by you. If you give me too much room, I could shoot it over you. So those things took a lot of practice. And the guy on the wall, Mike, he was very influential in my game and my development. So those are some of the things that I took serious. And I also was a football player. So like conditioning was always important to me, and being in shape and being able to run without being tired and being able to play the toughest guys.
Yeah.
You can't be soft and wear down easy if your team relies on you to score and play the best player, no matter what position, from point guard to the 5-man. So I had to prepare every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
Glenn is referencing a Michael Jordan poster in here. Who was your toughest matchup throughout your high school career?
All right, let's just say this, right? Only 3 people ever bust my ass. I'm keeping the buck.
Keeping the buck, that's what we doing.
I'm very serious about this. The one thing I can say is when I see my peers, they know it's real. But like Lloyd Daines in high school, I shared 47 from him. He bust me, my guy Juice, and Mark Brown. He dogged us. But we won, right? Lloyd went sub out. We played against the Gauchos, and it threw his team off, motivated us, and we won. Another guy, Mike Morrison in college, he played for Mount St. Mary's. He wound up getting drafted to the Phoenix Suns. He was like our league's Michael Jordan, because he was talking to me the whole time. We beat them too, but he was just like, man, you good. I'm going to go left, right? I'm faking right. He's talking to me while I'm holding him. And then go left and pull up. And it's like, couldn't do anything with that.
Couldn't do anything that night.
And but tap me on my back, be like, yo, but you good though.
Right? Make sure to let you know that.
And then the last person was Anthony Mason. This was his first year on the Knicks. We played at West 4th. I'm in the championship. I played with the Homeboys. He played with Prime Time, the Invincible Prime Time. And we would have won that game if someone didn't, punch the ref. Well, not the ref, punch another player in the face from the opposite team.
Yikes.
And that kind of threw our whole thing off. But he had 34, I had 28, and we were holding each other, right? And at that moment, I said to myself, another moment of clarity. I said, yo, you could play in the league. Because if he could play, and he's having a tough time, and you can guard him, and he's like 2 of you, body-wise, you can go, right? So I would say, just out of my whole career, those 3 stand out.
Now, you mentioned earlier that after college, you had to tend to your family matters, but here you are matched up with one of the more beloved Knicks, holding your own.
Rest in peace to Anthony.
For sure. Were you ever angry during that process, having to give up your basketball career?
Nah, And I stopped playing. I stopped playing at like 28, 29.
Tiny Morton, your former high school teammate, he takes over Abraham Lincoln High School to be the head coach. What did you think about that?
I thought it was awesome.
He was your floor general.
Definitely. Still think he should be there too.
He won, I think, 8 championships?
9.
9?
Yeah.
What do you think Tiny Morton's legacy? I think about him often. What do you think his legacy is in this city? What it is versus perhaps maybe what it should be. What do you think?
Again, I think his legacy will be cemented. If there's ever a movie or documentary comes out to kind of remind people, because I think sometimes people forget, right? And I think his legacy is going to be one of triumph once they get to understand his backstory, how hard it took for him to get to that position, and all the things he had to, he went through as a child to become the man he is today. I think people will realize and appreciate him more. It's hard to do it when you're seeing people do it in real time. It's kind of hard to kind of see, right? But for me, knowing the backstory, knowing what him and his brother been through, and from them to still be around and Tiny name still be relevant to this day. And hopefully he'll pop back on the coaching scene somewhere and reinvent himself to let people know that, just in case y'all forgot.
His legacy is a bit conflicted. You know, he's won a lot, as you mentioned, but I guess I'll say this. Why do you think he's not back at Lincoln?
I think it's a choice that he made. I think, you know, even at Nazareth, it was a choice that he made. You know, there's a lot of rumors out there that, you know, he was let go or, you know, was fired. Tiny walked away on its own. And if he still wanted to be there, he would still be there. I'm not with him every day. Excuse me. But knowing what I know, I just think he wanted some change.
Somebody that has been that successful, all those championships, put guys in the NBA, he should be embraced by the whole city.
Yeah.
What do you say to the people that question his methods over the years? You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it's conflicted. Some people love Tiny. Some people keep their distance and question how he went about accomplishing what he accomplished. What do you say to those people?
Well, a lot of people bit his blueprint, and they're not winning all the championships like he did, right? Again, it's easy to look at somebody and say what they're doing is wrong, just like we talked about the reclassing thing. But again, you still got to compete. So if the rules allow him to do the things that he was doing, as far as getting the players that he needed to get to fit his team and to fit his program for them to win, the same rules applies for everyone. You know, it's again, I'm going to be reluctant to say anything that's not in something that I know about, right? So, but I just will say that, you know, those people who had a problem with what he done or what he accomplished, I don't see any asterisk next to those championships. You know, you go on Lincoln, all of the banners still hang up high, and the proof is all the players he produced. You have one on the wall right there.
Sebastian Telvey, yes, sir.
You know, so I think when it's all said and done, his legacy will be solidified. I know as long as I'm alive or as long as I'm breathing, I'm always going to talk highly of him. I'm having a documentary being done on me right now. So I want to definitely get him a part of that. And let him know that he was a part of my journey. Without Tiny Morton, we don't win the city championship. I'm going to keep it a buck.
Of course not. He was a one-man press breaker.
And then, you know, he was that final piece that we needed. So definitely, he definitely deserves everything he gets.
Salute. Lincoln has been struggling over the last couple of years, man. As an alum, what's it like sitting back and seeing this happen? And also as a media member, have you been out and connected with the coaching staff? Tell us about that.
Actually, me and Coach Montos is very, very good friends. Actually coached against her. We lost the championship to her when she was at Prospect Heights. So, and that was in the NYSA league with my guy Dwayne Cumberbatch. But
is that the charter school league?
It's the charter school league. It's tough, man, because she's not from Coney Island, so she's not going to get the top Coney Island kids. I've seen this 8th grader who's going to Nazareth with my man G. Irv. This kid, if he was at Lincoln, she would definitely have a future All-American.
Right.
But he's not going there. So I think it's tough, her being an outsider from the Coney Island area trying to get the kids to go there. Now, I hope it works out, and I hope this, you know, he keeps his word and go. We do have another Marbury that will be there next year if everything works out.
To play?
To play. Wow. Point guard, Christian Marbury. He's the son of Norman Juju Marbury. I think if she put the ball in his hands, whether he fails to succeed, because the kid is good, I think other kids will want to play with him. He plays with a lot of the good kids in the city now. If he could convince them to come out to Coney Island and play with him, I think she will have a thing going in a couple of years. She got to trust the progress. the process and the legacy, because you need to build around something. If you don't have anything, you go back and you build around the legacy. And the Marburys have been the legacy of Abraham Lincoln forever.
Forever. Matos is actually, we were in grad school together. You know, that's my friend. And when I saw that she was getting a job, I was worried about her. That's a high-profile position, you know, and Coney Island is a close-knit community, you know, and she is, as you mentioned, an outsider. And I was made aware recently that there was kind of some messaging on Facebook from some prominent Abraham Lincoln alum, and they were kind of being critical of her. I understand that that's your beloved program. And I would just ask those people, has anybody reached out to assist? That's one of our biggest brands of PSAL basketball. You know, it's cool to sit back and be critical, but what can we do to help? You know, if she's not a Coney Island, somebody extend the olive branch. And that goes the same for Coach Matos. If you're not from the community, go out and meet some people. Let them know who you are and what you got planned. Like, we can't afford to have such a great brand, you know, be struggling.
No, I did reach out, and I told her I would be of assistance to her. I got my guy, Robbie Booby Williams, who played with me at Lincoln. He's from Coney Island, who trains Sebastian, who trained, you know, the Isaiahs and all these other guys to be a part of her staff. And I won't say talk Christian into it, but we had a lot of talks, and every time I would see him, I was like, yo, are you going to Lincoln? Yeah. Are you going to Lincoln? And the last time I saw him at St. John's with his mom and dad, he said he wants to go to Lincoln. I said, that's awesome. And I think, you know, that's a start. Yeah. Right? You got to start somewhere. It's kind of hard when you don't know, right? A lot of guys probably don't really know her. They just seeing what's happening from the outside, and it's hard. It's hard to see us lose the way that we losing right now. You know what I mean? Especially for me, you know, guys. Everybody looks at me like, yo, what's going on? And I think any time you have such a great dynasty, there's going to be a slack off in some years. Christy King had their periods. We're looking at the resurgence of DeWitt Clinton, who holds the most city championships in New York City with 18. You know, they're just now having a resurgence and coming back after all of those years. When I was playing, Jefferson wasn't winning. And when I was probably a kid, they were. But then, you know, once I became a teenager, those teams wasn't winning. Now they're winning. You got a new school like Eagle Academy who just came up. Yeah. South Shore wasn't really good. They got 3 city championships, right? So that's time. Father time waits for no one. And, you know, you're going to have your ups and downs, and now it's just a downtime from Lincoln.
That's right. That's right. You're right, man. DeWitt Clinton has bounced back. You know what I'm saying? Yo, Pooh, you like a basketball encyclopedia, man. I'm going to just start checking in with you every now and again. Forget the cameras. I'm going to just call.
That's it, anytime.
Pick your brain. Speaking about the podcast and responsibility, I want to commend you on a piece of content you had. There was and you was talking about Thomas Jefferson. There was a little fight at one of the games, and then the very next week, you were on the bus interviewing the great Coach Bud, who was also a guest on the show. Salute to him, and asking him about that. I just thought that was phenomenal that we had that outlet. And I was like, yo, salute to Glenn, salute to BasketballHeadzz. I want to ask, how much of a challenge is it to ask a tough question like that to a friend or, you know, a colleague? Here you are on the bus going to Pennsylvania, and that was a question that the city wanted to know. How tough is that for you?
It wasn't tough at all. I was at the game. I saw what happened, and then I heard the backlash. And it was from some people who were there and a lot of people who weren't there, who didn't understand what really happened. First game of the season, very intense moment. And I just wanted to give Coach just a fair shot, right? And, you know, asking those questions that the people wanted no answers to. And when I told him what I wanted to do, he was like, oh, we're going to Philly this weekend. Come on, let's get on the bus. I said, cool. I said, I'm bringing my mic. We're going to do a ride on the bus on the way down. You know, listen, Bud has been one of my biggest supporters. We talked about, like, out of all the coaches, you know, all the New York City coaches, you know, I get a lot of support now. Salute to, you know, the other coaches, you know, Kev Hamilton, you know, Smoke, all of them, you know, everyone from, you know, my guy Jimmy Lynch over at St. Francis Prep to everyone, Christ the King, you name it. But during my process of wanting to get certain people on the show, but would just reach out and be like, yo, Pooh, who do you want? I'll make sure you get on the show, or you should get this person. And this was early on in the beginning, and I just thought that since he's done such a justice for me, I want to make sure that I could do the same for him. Not in a favor sense, but I was there. Yeah. So I didn't hear from someone else. I saw what happened, and I want to give him a fair opportunity to give the story, the backstory from his point of view and what really happened, so people can understand that he wasn't coaching a gang of hoodlums and running Thomas Jefferson like it's the Wild Wild West. Right. Very well coached, very great program. He loves his players. He makes sure he honors them in every which way. And I just want to make sure he gets just due.
That was dope, man. When I saw that, I said, yo, Pooh got the inside scoop, man. Let me listen to this, yo. That was dope. Who are your media influences? Because I'm not formally trained. I just try to pick up little things from Stephen A. here and there. Like, what is your influences when it comes to media personalities and tactics?
I watch Stephen A. I watch Gilbert. I watch all the guys. All the smoke. But I think me coming from the hip hop world. Oh, and I failed to mention that I had a series of DVDs called The Boom Room as well. So, and I was always behind the camera, orchestrating things and making sure things went right. But being in front of the camera, I kind of had to create my own style and own niche, right? Because I come from a unique space that a lot of other people didn't come from. So I have to kind of be creative and also use my artistic traits that I have. This is something that I love to do. So it's kind of easy for me. Jay Billis, I watch them all. Like all those guys, watch. And I can't say I take a piece from him, a piece from him, a piece from him. I just think New York City has its own style and its own flair within itself. And I just kind of put myself in that fabric and try to be a part of that.
Dope.
Yeah.
What'd you think of that PSAL championship game?
One of the best games in New York City history.
Boys basketball game, let me be specific. The Eagle Academy boys from Brooklyn defeated Thomas Jefferson on a buzzer beater.
The same way that they lost in the Brooklyn championship too. Not the Brooklyn championship in the Boroughs playoffs. Yeah. The same corner shot, the same one. Tristan Davis hit the shot at Eagle, and then he gets caught up in the trap trying to defend their player, right? And he hits it from deep. Meanwhile, he hit the first shot and the last shot. He was so stone cold. He hit like the first 2 or 3 shots, and then he kind of vanished. But, kudos to coach, staying with it and believing in his player. Yeah. Right? Because you could easily go to somebody else. Trey Shep playing with a broken foot.
What?
Who knew? Yes, because he didn't play in the state championship. He came up walking on crutches, and it blew our minds like, oh, man, they're in trouble. But they only lost by 3, so just imagine if Trey Shep was playing. Just all of those things that happened, just a moment. The crowd was electric.
Big time.
It was so electrifying. The music was good. Shout out to my guy, DJ Authorized. Yep. Me being on the floor and being able to see the excitement and taking the atmosphere, and it was packed in there for a city championship game. A little bit more than the regular.
Yeah.
Right? Because we were playing in an arena.
No, that was a great stage. Great night.
And I just think the best team won that night. You know, and another thing, you know, kudos to Kev Hamilton, because when Jefferson lost that game, Bud said it was his fault.
Where?
Sounds of a great coach.
He said that where?
Oh, when we talk.
Oh.
And he told his team right after the game, this is my fault. And that's another thing that I learned from Coach Haskins. So when your team wins, they won. When they lose, coach fault. It's like, wow.
Accountability.
Have to take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, that was a great night. I was just sitting there. Early in that year, I had both Kevin Hamilton and Lawrence Bud Pollard on the podcast. Two great guys. They came in here and did a great job. It was our kids on one of the biggest arenas in the city. It was electric. Like, I just was like proud of New York. Like, wow, man, this is a special night. You know what I'm saying? I hope people realize how cool it is to be here in this moment. You know what I'm saying? We got a great game, too. Yeah.
Let me just add this, right? Another story with Bud. We talked about, he asked me the same question. What do you think the Tom Konchalski game is going to be like? I said, man, if we can have a game close to what y'all did in Barclays Center, it'd be awesome. He was like, Pooh, nothing's going to top what happened at the Barclays Center. Oh, man.
Summertime in New York City, Pooh, Breevort Basketball League. Tell me about it.
Breevort Basketball League, we are back. We go back to 1973, way before I even came to the neighborhood, that they was putting it on. And what people need to understand is what Rucker was for the pro league, Breevort was for high school. So when we had guys like Albert King, who was the #1 player in America in 1977, he was playing in Breevort, showcasing his talent with the Vanguard Oilers and Coach Gil Reynolds. And it went up to the late 70s and kind of ended. And then Sonny Lewis took over the helm, maybe 83, 84. And I started playing there 1985, 86, and then won the last MVP there for high school in 1988. And then right around that time in the 80s, Mr. Thomas Diggs, who was one of my first basketball coach and mentor in the neighborhood, he started a midget league for his kids.
Okay.
Right, his kids, Trey and Trevor, who were young kids, and he started, I think maybe it was a junior high school and down league for the kids in the neighborhood, and they would do drafts and things like that. And that ran up to the maybe 2000s, maybe something like that, or 90. I'm not too sure I think 98. And then there was nothing.
It went away.
It was an empty pool. No basketball played there. The court was demolished. And when I started the podcast, I was able to get the court refurbished. Full Court Peace got in contact with me.
Pooh, you got to have some muscle to get things moved in this city, man. Hold on. We ain't speeding past this. How did you get a court redone in New York City?
Well, again, the power of the platform. I said, listen, we could do something great, right? Use my influence and what I'm doing with what you guys doing. And all you guys, all grown professionals. We got policemen, educators, entertainment moguls, and all from the neighborhood, hardworking blue-collar men and women to participate in helping kids' dreams come true. Yeah. So that happened, and last year we kicked off the year.
First time in a long time.
First time, 35 years. And after the court got finished and we honored his father, a month later his father passed away. Wow. So it was just this was one of my purposes to kind of fulfill without me even knowing. Yeah. And coming back into basketball to do some positive things. So when I look at some of the things that I'm doing, is not just a job. It's not just something I'm doing just to get some clout.
Yeah.
It's something that I'm supposed to be doing.
For sure. For sure. High school league, right?
High school, we got high school, junior high school, and then we have the 12 and under league, the youth league. Yes.
So last year at the high school level, how many teams did you have?
We had 10 teams last year and 6 youth teams.
Who won the championship?
BasketballHeadzz.
The home team.
The home
Who was
team.
the MVP?
The MVP was Will Patterson, who's now going to attend Syracuse University.
Wow.
Yeah, 7 foot, Will Patterson.
What high school did he play for?
He went to the Patrick School.
Okay.
Yeah, he was at Bishop Wilbur, some school like that, and then he transferred to Patrick School this year.
And how many teams we got this year?
We have 16 teams.
16.
High school teams. We have 8 junior high school teams and 6 12 and under teams.
Mm. And you guys play under the lights.
Yeah, we one of the only parks in the city that allow high school players to play under the lights.
Yeah.
That's usually reserved for Pro-Am, which we don't have.
The focus is on the kids.
The focus is on the kids.
Give us an address, because I always hear Breevort.
There is no address. I would tell people, we tell people this all the time. There's no address to the Coliseum because the Coliseum sits in the middle of the complex.
Yeah.
So I would tell everybody, put in 296 Ralph Avenue, right? Put in 296 Ralph Avenue and follow the music.
There you go.
Follow the music.
What days do you play?
We play Monday, Tuesday, and Thursdays. This week, we'll be playing Saturday because, of the smoke quality situation that the man put in. So tomorrow, we'll be having 3 12 and under games and boys and girls versus I Got You basketball.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Did we miss anything? Let me see what else I got for you.
Oh, well, I just want to let everybody know, again, I got a documentary coming out soon, so I don't know if you're going to be around for me to come back and talk about this.
That's not a
man.
problem, brother. That's
You know
not a
what I'm
problem. We'll
saying?
find a way. We'll find a mic and some cameras.
Appreciate that.
When should that be dropping?
Sometime next year.
Okay.
Sometime next year. Done by a group of friends of mine, 3 Cinema Media. They're out of South Carolina. And, we're just going to give that whole backstory from my transition from, high school to the music, because one of the guys who owns the company was with me during the music. And he was like, yo, Pooh, you got to put that in. We have too many stories.
Yeah.
I tell you that I'm the reason why one of Tupac's songs got made with Biggie.
How?
Okay. The song's going to be made anyway, but they needed someone to fill this position. It was Biggie, Tupac, The Outlaws, Stretch from Live Squad, and a young kid called Little Vicious.
Okay.
Dougie Fresh artist.
I remember Little Vicious.
Right. He was too young to be on a song called Running from the Police because it was very violent, right? So they pulled him off, and then Moby calls me and is like, yo, Pooh, we need somebody to do this reggae part. You know anyone? I was like, yeah, my guy Brown Man. My guy Brown Man was on Joe's first single, the R&B single Joe. It's called I'm in Love. Y'all check it out. It's my guy Brown Man. It took us about 2 hours to convince him he was going to do a song with Tupac and Biggie. So we brought him up to Unique Studios. Tupac was there. Spent about 14 hours with him in the studio, just kicking it with him, and him being so thankful that we was able to make this happen for him. And it's the only song him and Big ever did together.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's I've experienced a lot of great moments,
A lot of great stuff. Pooh, city champion, college athlete. You got BasketballHeadzz. You got the Tom Konchalski Classic. You got Breevort. What do you want your legacy to be? You do a great job of helping to elevate everybody else. What do you want Glenn Pooh Harden's legacy to be when it comes to this basketball stuff?
Someone that was able to keep New York City stories alive. I think that I'm here to be of service to others and to make sure that 50 to 100 years from now, when they talk about New York City basketball, at least my name will be mentioned in the conversation.
Dope. Tell them about the Classic one more time. Where can we find it? Where can we attend? Tell them.
Yes, next Thursday, June 15th, at Malloy High School, we have the Tom Konchalski Foundation All-City Classic, brought to you by yours truly, BasketballHeadzz, Grassroots Basketball, my guy Mousy, Jordan Brands, pitching in, WTH Sports Channel, my guy Dave Joint, and also my guy Jaquan from Hoop Dreams. Those guys, we all sat down and we picked the all-city team together. So, it's going to be a great event. Please attend. Come and let's have some fun, because you're also going to see a lot of other legendary New York City ball players that will be in the building watching the game that day. So we want to honor them and come out and have some fun.
All right, man. We'll be there. Glenn Harden, thank you, sir.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
That's WBH Radio. I'm William Holly. We out.